So now we're going to talk about how we can select things. To keep life simple, I've got all the other letters to be invisible here for now, for this lecture. So I don't use all these tools. Sometimes I do, but mainly, these are the ones I'm going to show you now. So I used this one here, selects. This is called the marquee tool. In fact, if you move the mouse over it tells you what it is. If you forget, this is called the lasso tool. There's two ways of using that one. One I would say don't use, the other way yes. And the wand tool, which can be handy if you're selecting areas like all the white here where it's not in danger of selecting anything else. But I tend to use probably that one the most if I'm selecting an area. But when you're working with layers, as we're going to be doing, you'll find it's even a lot easier, especially when you're working with a certain type of image, which I'll explain shortly, called where it's transparent background images. Anyway, so this one here, you click on it to use the tool. Now you'll notice that it's got a little X on here. Now if you click anywhere on the screen where you want to start, it's going to draw a shape with 4 straight sides. So you can start here and just drag it, hold the mouse down, and dragging it down the screen to the desired position. So say I want to just pick that flower in the stem. Or don't have to pick the whole thing. And if I release the mouse button, it's there. Now if I was to click with my mouse and drag it, click and hold down the mouse and then drag it, it will move not the flower, it will move the area, which is quite handy because if you were say there and you really want it to be there, it's handy that you can move it into position first before you select it. Now the only things you can't do is it doesn't allow you to resize this area, but you can do that. So I can move it over here. Is it still big enough to, if it wasn't big enough, then all I have to do is just click anywhere and just do it again. Okay, so each time I click it, so if I just click it here, it just removes it. So if I click there, select the flower we want with the stem, I've now selected that area. So that's pretty straightforward tool to use. So incidentally, if you want to stop the marching ants, deselect. It's good practice, by the way, when you've finished with moving an item or whatever with the whatever you're doing with that item, to deselect. So you can either click on the tool, make sure it's selected because it won't work if there's another tool. Click outside or anywhere outside the area you selected, and that will deselect it. Or you could go edit and click on deselect all, which will do the same thing. So we'll do that. Not the easiest one to do. Okay, so the other one is the lasso tool. Now there's 2 things up here. It's always going to select this one, which is the one I would say to use. I would try and avoid this one, which is called the polygonal lasso tool, because this one here, it can be quite a pain to the other tool, it's really easy to stop the selection of the tool, stop the marching ants, but this one, it just goes on and on selecting, and it can be a pain. And to be fair, with what I'm going to show you in this course, I can't see you'll ever need it. So in this one here, I use the freehand lasso tool. So this is it's more like a freehand, so like you're drawing with a pencil. So say you wanted to do it with that, so you couldn't get a straight line down here because it would cut off the other rows. You could still rub out the bit that you didn't want it later on. That's fine. There's still ways of doing it. So say I'm holding down the mouse key as I'm going along, and I'm just going up over the bit I want, and I make sure that it comes back to where I started, and when I release my mouse button, hopefully, it's selected that area. Now what I could do now is I can edit, copy, move it, or do whatever I want to with that. Okay, so we'll just click outside here, and that deselects it. Magic wand. So as you can see on this image, I've chosen this for a specific reason because it's got lots of white background and there's no white in the flowers for it to select by accident. So if I was to click anywhere in this white area, you should find that it will select all the white. Yes, took some time because we are working with quite a large image. Now as you can see, there's marching ants around the outside because this is one big image, and also ants around the flower. So if you were to look at what's actually happening here, the area that is selected is all the white, and it's showing where this is where the boundaries, so everything inside here to here is selected, but this is not. So if we were now to go edit and cut, it's now actually deleted the white. Now it won't show up as being deleted because our background is not transparent. If our background though is transparent, then this would actually be clear. There'd only be the flowers here. Okay, so that's those ways of selecting things. Now for the next one, I'm going to start using layers, because layers is where the magic happens. So I'm just going to bring up some of these. Now these are ones where the backgrounds are deleted. I didn't delete them, I just simply got the flower. Now remember, it only works on the layer image if you click on it. Okay, so like that. So if I want to work on this, I think it's this one I've selected, I'll click on it, and then whenever anything I do will move that around. It won't move anything else because they're on different levels. If I was to go here, we're working on that, and the same with any other. So with us being in here, we know that in here it's only this flower. I'll pick the other one. It's only this pink one here, so I'm going to move that in front actually so we can see it in front. There we are. So it's above now this one. Remember, anything at the top is at the top, and so on behind it going down. So we want to select this instead of trying to draw around it and select it like that. We don't need to because it's got no background to cut out. It's already there. It's ready for us just to use. So what we could do there is edit, and down here is called select pixels. That will select every single thing on that layer. It won't select any of these, nothing else. Now by doing that, that's quite handy, because later on we'll find it's quite handy because we can use it to cut areas and so on, and create special effects with our text and so on like that. So there's your that's the move tools I use, the selection tools I use. There's this one, which is I use that quite a bit. Or there's the freehand, there's the wand, and there's the select pixels.